The biggest question of the year is what's next for Dead by Daylight. With over 7 years of content, the future sometimes can be uncertain, but today we have the answers on what potentially can happen. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and you're doing well. The future of Dead by Daylight has always been in question by the community. In some years, the community is super high and thriving on potential, and other years, it's really not looking that good. So what is in store for us in the coming year, or years to come, so to speak? Well, in order to find that out, we need to know what's currently going on in Dead by Daylight and what future plans they currently have and how that can affect the game. Now, before we go on into that, I need to ask two quick favors from you guys. Number one is, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. I'm really trying to hit 150,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and sometimes you may think you're subscribed, but YouTube just gives you my recommended videos, so please double check. It'll mean a lot to me. The second thing is we're back to full-time streaming. I sound like a broken record sometimes saying this, but it is true. I would love to see your faces there. Twitch.tv/theking. Link is down below. We're live right now, and we'll be live every single day at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully we'll see you there. So let's take a look at what is currently going on in Dead by Daylight. First and foremost, we had some of the biggest chapters we've ever seen joining the Fog. Some of the most big licensed names that we've ever imagined. We had Nicolas Cage joining the Fog, Alien, Ellen Ripley, Chucky, and now Alan Wake. Almost a full year of content of just licensed DLCs, and you would think that this would have such a huge impact on the numbers and sales, but unfortunately, when taking a look at the Steam charts, it seems that we're at a plateau. It seems that the community, at least according to Steam charts, have just kind of been stagnant and been sitting there for quite a long time. However, these chapters still bring in tons and tons of new players and gets lots of eyes, especially from mainstream media, looking at Dead by Daylight itself. Getting a big name like Nicolas Cage and someone as iconic as Chucky really does make waves in the horror scenes and continue to set Dead by Daylight apart from any other asymmetrical game out there. So what exactly was the reason for all this licensed content? Well, my dark horse theory is that they really thought that their new competitor, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was going to actually create huge waves in the community, and people are always going to go in between playing Dead by Daylight and TCM, and that didn't necessarily happen. We've seen that TCM initially had a lot of the Dead by Daylighters playing. I even made videos on it myself because it was new, it was fresh, it was fun, but they had their own issues, which we can talk about for hours in a separate video. With that being said, however, if they actually did pull through and had tons of people playing the game, Dead by Daylight would be in an ongoing battle, versing for the players from going to TCM to DBD, and if they had a stacked up year lined up for us, it probably meant that more people were going to go to Dead by Daylight. Now that's just a random theory that I have, and that evidently might not be the case. They probably just had some good signed licenses, and they decided to drop it all on us this year. But it has us thirsting for a nice original chapter and some good original content. Nonetheless, that is currently what they have been doing, and with these big chapters and not really seeing any growth in the community itself, it leaves people wondering what really does the future hold if these big chapters can't attract more of an audience. Well, let's talk about it. The one thing we know that Dead by Daylight are guaranteed to do at least this year are new game modes, and that will be absolutely huge for the community, for people that have been playing for a very long time, and for new players just looking for something fresh. This will be a staple for Dead by Daylight and really give them that next level up that we've been waiting for over 7 years. The community has been asking for a 2v8 game mode for such a long time, and finally, we're not only probably going to be getting that, but tons of new game modes. Now, depending on how they execute this and how well these game modes are perfected and polished will determine how good this can affect the community. However, I really do have some high hopes for this. I think that the OG players, especially people that are burnt out of the game and have been tired of the same thing, repairing generators over and over and over, will finally get something new that they can enjoy with community members and really look forward to playing more Dead by Daylight in a way that they've never done before. And especially if they continue to produce new game modes, limited time events, etc., it can go quite a far way. And I think once they start putting out all these new game modes and all this new content, and we probably have a lot of original content as well, that's where they're going to drop a huge hammer, and they're going to bring back some new Stranger Things stuff. I think it is a no-brainer for them to work with Netflix again and to bring in more Stranger Things stuff. I, for one, said that it will take a very long time for Stranger Things to come back into the game, and I was right on the money. You know, I always felt that Stranger Things was going to come back, but as the years went on, I'm like, maybe not. But there was still a glimmer of hope. Finally, we've seen Stranger Things return into Dead by Daylight, and we've also seen new content in Fortnite. Fortnite, they have a big team over on Epic. They can get this thing done in no time. DBD, you know they already have things planned way ahead in advance, so it's kind of hard just to chuck anything, and they're a much smaller team. So I think once everything's settled down, we start seeing those new game modes, the player base starts increasing a little bit, that's when they're going to drop their best of their best content and maybe even tie it with a new event. This year, we've seen some of the best events as well. We've seen some of the best chapters we've seen, and recently we've seen one of the best PTBs we've seen in a very long time, so we have to give some props to Dead by Daylight. If they continue with all of the good things they've done last year, mix it up with some of their OG content as well, and then give us some new game modes, it really does look like the future of Dead by Daylight can be pretty bright. Now, this is pretty ironic because we have made tons of other videos talking about potentially the downfall of Dead by Daylight, but this year they've really proven themselves and said, hey, we're not going anywhere. We don't need to keep proving this to everybody. We are here to stay, and no competitor is going to show off better than us. So Dead by Daylight has once again stamped the approval for everybody, and I really think that this year is going to be huge for Dead by Daylight, and the future for Dead by Daylight will be great. And what's next? New game modes. I think this is going to take over. I think this is going to be the new thing, and I think this is really going to set them apart from everybody else. So there you go, guys. That was just a quick video on pretty much talking about the future of DBD. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. I know a lot of people are burnt out of Dead by Daylight. Currently, the game itself is pretty stale. MMR is still an issue that is in the game. This isn't to say that, hey, there's no issues whatsoever. There's things like the twins that need to be reworked that haven't been touched in forever. The night is still disabled. So there's still a lot of things that Dead by Daylight needs to fix and needs to get on top of to ensure that people are still happy. But that combined with other things that can come out would be quite good. Now, before you jump the gun and start typing away, they shouldn't work on game modes, they should fix their game. There's different teams that are working on different things, so these things will just naturally occur. Now, if you're talking about the speed of which these things occurred and happened would be a different situation. However, that's just the reality of it all. I really do believe in that theory, though, that they really thought that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was going to do really, really good this year. And if that truly is the case, it does show that competition is exactly what Dead by Daylight needs. Sadly, we don't really have that much competition for the game itself. But if that truly was the case and they decided to throw everything they had, just imagine what could possibly happen if we had constant competition. That would be absolutely fantastic to think about. Anyways, that is going to do it for me. I'm rambling on. I am going to get to streaming. Hopefully we see you guys there, twitch.tv/theking. And shout out to Noise as well. We're going to be multi-streaming there. That's going to do it. I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.